Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Friendly Banter Podcast. I'm Cade Zook here with my co-host.
Brandon Yoder.
Yeah, we're back. We're back for episode number 2. Episode 1 was pretty fun, I would say. You have a good time?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So how's your Saturday been?
It's been pretty nice. Weather's been amazing.
I mowed today with my brand new mower. It's always fun.
Nice.
Episode today is pretty simple. I'm going to talk a little bit about Game 1 of the NBA Finals and how disappointing it was. And then we'll talk about a little bit of a Game 2 preview, talk some Cavs, and then move on to our last segments where we're just going to have some fun. You ready to get into it with a little Game 1 reaction? All right. So Thursday night, Mavericks versus Boston, Game 1. Boston dominated, won the game 107 to Dallas's 89. Really wasn't a contestable time. Third quarter, Dallas brought it back a little bit, but they didn't hold it and went right back up to 20. Yeah, not a lot of good stuff happening on Dallas's side. They shot 26% from three. Boston 38%. Shot 63% from the line as well. Just got out rebounded. Only had 9 assists actually. So it was just a abysmal performance. In Boston played a solid game. Luka led the team with 30 points on 12 for 26 shooting, and Jaylen Brown led the Celtics with 22 points. So I guess we'll get right into it with I'll ask you first, what went wrong for the Dallas Mavericks on Thursday night? Because I know a lot did.
Yeah. My biggest concern going into the series was all of Dallas's role players. They didn't have a lot of guys that were really actually good 3-point shooters. It's a lot of Derek Jones and Josh Green where they're good players, but shooting is definitely not their specialty. So I was worried about, number one, them hitting their shots, and then number two, Boston even respecting them as shooters, and neither of those happened. Dallas as a whole hit 3 threes outside of Luka. So that's, when that happens, you're just not going to win any basketball games. Kyrie was really bad too. One interesting thing that Boston did that really threw a wrench in Dallas's offense was they would put their centers on Dallas's wings. Like Derek Jones and other kind of forwards with them, like PJ Washington too. So then what Dallas did was they were still looking to put Boston centers in pick and roll. So they would set the screens with guys like Derek Jones and PJ. And but since Boston was still able to kind of crash the interior with helping out with the other guys, those wings were just not able to kind of convert on the roll. So Luka was able to get him the ball, and then they just weren't able to kind of finish from there, because they're just not. It's not like it's Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively rolling to the rim. It's these other guys that aren't as vertical, definitely aren't as tall either. So just finishing around the rim is not as easy. And then when you're only 6'7", it does make it a lot easier for guys to come over from the weak side and take away your look at the rim.
Yeah, Boston definitely got Dallas out of their comfort zone and what they've been, their bread and butter all postseason. I thought Mazzulla
pick and roll and lobs at the rim.
Yeah, I think Mazzulla did a good job. think he hit pretty good game one game plan, and he definitely made Luka and Kyrie work for it. And when you make them work for it, and the role players aren't there to support, it's gonna be a long night, and that's essentially what we saw. Yeah, obviously Kyrie played. I mean, I think it's actually hard to say what Kyrie did good. I thought he had some decent defensive possessions where he's able to cause some havoc in the first half, but like offensively, he wasn't really bringing a whole lot to the table. The role players that have been coming in clutch consistently for you played horrible. Yeah, when a team is forcing your role players to make shots and you just simply cannot do that, it's going to be tough to generate offense. And that's what we saw, obviously, with their final score being 89. They had no answer for Kristaps at all in that first half. I mean, some of it was he was just seeing the rim about 5 times larger than it actually was. And he was hitting stupid shots, but no matter what they threw at him, it doesn't matter how good the defense was, the ball was going in. And it was one of the, I mean, what a great performance for him coming back. It's just game one, though. That's probably the best thing for the Mavericks. The most positive thing to say about that game is it's only game one. Do you have anything that went right for Dallas?
Honestly, not really. The defensive end for Dallas wasn't too good either.
No.
Boston's, the fact that they were able to play, 5 shooters the entire time really kind of exposed Dallas's defense. Because it forced them to either switch and give up a mismatch, which they did a lot, and they got punished on the mismatches a lot. Or what it required was for Dallas to bring 2 to the ball, and then whenever they did that, Boston had the shooting and the ball movement to kick it around the perimeter to find the open guy, and then to make that shot, whatever it was. So game one was, there was like nothing good for Dallas on that end.
Yeah, and I know one thing that my contact's drying out. I know one thing that worried me looking at how Dallas had played defense and those shrinking the floor. Well, Boston attacks you on every single level, and every single guy can attack you on every single level. And it's like it's just a recipe for disaster when you've been letting guys like Giddey just shoot threes. There's no Josh Giddey on the floor for the Celtics. Like, I mean, I think the broadcast team talked about it. On open threes, everyone shoots above, was it 41%?
Possibly.
In the Celtics, other than Jaylen Brown, who's I think missing it by 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pick your poison, but they're gonna beat you anyway.
Yeah, it's a team that truly just doesn't have any weak links, and it really makes things tough on you.
It does.
When you don't have anyone to pick on.
Yeah, you can't leave the role players open like Boston is doing and having success with it, because you can't do it with Boston, or they'll beat you by 20 points like we saw. And I think there were a couple positives from Dallas. I liked some Hardy and the Cleveland minutes. I thought they weren't spectacular, but they did some good things when literally nobody else outside of Luka was doing anything good. I think the biggest positive over the whole game, though, is when that game ended, you still have Luka Doncic in your locker room, and he will be there for game 2. No matter what Boston does, they don't have that. That's the one positive. But I mean, Porzingis had a great game. I don't see him replicating that because that was hard for any player to replicate. And, you're still able to come back from that first half and get it within striking distance. Obviously, you then lost that, but, I don't think the sky is falling if you're Dallas. Not yet, at least. But let's move on. What did Boston do right? There's a lot of it. So you can, I guess, just also pick your poison with what went right in that game for Boston.
Yeah, a lot of things went right for Boston. The mismatch hunting for them really worked out a lot. Porzingis was really able to, take advantage of when he was getting mismatches. Same with, Tatum as well. He was punishing guys too. Brown. Everyone was just punishing mismatches when they got them for Boston, which was, pretty often. And then also, like I said earlier, the ball movement to be able to find open shots when Dallas would put 2 on the ball. That went really well for them. It really went well on offense for all of it.
Yeah, they forced Dallas to play the way Boston wants to play, not the way Dallas wants to play. It's always a good spot to be in for any team. I mean, even the Mavericks were switching their defenses, playing 2-3 because the Celtics were just punishing any personnel deficiency that Dallas had. There was no escaping it. They hit their shots like usual, and then I think one of the biggest positives from the whole time, or that whole entire game, is you got your center back, and he made a difference, and they looked like a different team. And we'll see, how he plays and how that affects the team going forward. But man, if you're a Boston fan looking at how Game 1 went, you got to be really, really, really excited and expecting Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the guys to come home with their first ring. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I think that's where we're at. I'd be ecstatic if I was a Boston fan. Unfortunately, I'm Boston's biggest hater, so I'm not too happy. But so Game 2 tomorrow. What can Dallas do to bounce back and tie this series up and take it back tied to Dallas?
I think defensively they can be a lot sharper on their rotations.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be that easy for Boston to swing the ball around the perimeter and find the open shot when Dallas puts 2 on the ball. But it was, because Dallas wasn't, they weren't sharp on their rotations on defense. Also on offense, it sounds simple, but they got to make their shots. Yeah. And it does make it harder when you guys aren't like really that good as shooters. Aside from Luka and Kyrie, the rest of the supporting cast, it is a very defense heavy, group.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe as far as like a strategic difference, could see Dallas go back to running pick and roll with their centers as opposed to trying to hunt out Boston centers and then going from there. Now Boston is going to try to switch a lot of those. Maybe you can try to slip the screens to kind of create those 4-on-3s. That could be a solution to beating it, because I do think Boston is going to stay with that those kind of matchups where they put their centers on Dallas's wings, to keep them out of the pick and roll play. So yeah, that's going to result in a lot of 2 on the ball switching, and then trying to, I guess, slip the screens for the Dallas centers.
Yeah, I don't quite understand why Dallas didn't go to their centers running the pick and roll with Luka, because anybody on Boston is a mismatch for Luka still. Like, it doesn't matter. Jaylen Brown is obviously your best fit to guard Luka, but Drew and Derek White don't have the physical tools to stop Luka. He's just too big, too strong.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum is again, probably your second best defender for Luka. But Luka's still gonna pick him apart because Tatum isn't like super. He's not like the athlete that Jaylen Brown is. Obviously, he's a good athlete,
He's
and it's
definitely
also
good
just it's
defensively.
Luka. No, he's a good defender, but it's Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
To me, I would rather pick my poison there and let my centers be where they're comfortable, because I think you got a player that gives you the luxury of doing that. So I don't get exactly why they ran away from it so hard, because Luka against Kristaps or Al Horford, yeah, it's a bigger mismatch, but it don't matter. It's Luka Doncic. It's a mismatch either way. And I think that making Luka work a little bit harder for those points is a worthy trade-off to be able to get an actual threat on a pick and roll compared to what they were doing Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do just someone else has to hit shots and Kyrie has to play better, and that's really what it comes down to more than anything. I don't care how good they play defense. If you score 89 points, you're not going to win. You ain't going to win 4 games scoring 89 points. That has to be better.
Yeah.
But what do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
I definitely can see Dallas making those adjustments. They have been pretty good at, doing what they need to do as far as game plan changes. So I do kind of expect them to go back to putting their centers in the ball screen action. I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do in terms of
Defensively,
if they are going to start slipping screens and
yeah.
stuff like that. But I do kind of think they are going to go back to putting their centers in the pick and roll.
I hope.
On defense, no idea what they're going to do though to try to stop this.
Yeah. Who? I was gonna say if you're a betting man, but I know you are. So who would your money be on?
I
For
haven't
game
really
2?
been doing a whole lot lately on that end. I kind of got tired of it, but
yeah, me too.
Honestly, I might still go back with Boston. I think I could definitely see it being a closer game. I can see it being a lot closer game than what it was, but I'm not seeing enough to say, hey, Dallas is going to come back and win game 2.
Do you think it'll be a close game?
I'm going to say yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want more than anything. I'm a Boston hater, like I said, but I'm not that much of a hater. I want to see a good basketball game. I'm gonna roll with Dallas. I think Luka and Kyrie have bounce backs. I think you get I don't know how much your role players are gonna really be hitting shots, but I think that you're gonna see some type of better performance there. It's hard to do as poorly as they did. I expect Jason Kidd to make some good adjustments, and I do think that it will be headed back to Dallas tie game. I'm gonna say that it is not gonna be a close game. I think Dallas is gonna beat the brakes off of them. It's a bold prediction, I know, but I'm gonna roll with it.
It is
If us as a Cavs team could beat the brakes off of that team in Boston, I think Dallas can too.
True.
And I'm standing on it. I'm standing on business. That's what I got. All right, on to something that affects us on a little bit of a personal level. Our team, Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's get ready to get depressed. So obviously, it's no secret with the article that came out on a lot of Cavs stuff that there's a lot of speculation and rumors swirling about Garland trades and Jarrett Allen trades. So we wanted to discuss some of those targets that teams would maybe look to move, or guys that we like. Some of them might be a little bit of a pipe dream, but we're just going to discuss some of those and some of the teams that we know are interested. And so we're going to start first off the Brooklyn Nets, which I know that I've heard rumors that they'd be interested in Donovan Mitchell. we're not going to talk about a Donovan Mitchell trade because in our minds is number one priority is you re-sign Donovan Mitchell, and we're going to talk about the ideal offseason. And in the ideal offseason, Mitchell remains with Cleveland for at least 4 more years, hopefully 5. But yeah, we're not gonna cover that. So let's talk about the Nets and their number one guy that isn't named Donovan Mitchell would probably be looking to acquire Darius Garland, who I know you're against. I don't know why. I think you're crazy for that. But who are some guys that the Nets could look to include in a package for Darius Garland, or some guys that, as a member of the Cavs front office, you would like to target?
I think the first one I'm going to mention is Cam Johnson. It does kind of fit what the Cavs are looking for positionally. It's a forward who is a really good 3-point shooter and, plays defense, does a lot of other stuff with it too. Overall, just a perfect fit pretty much on any team. Dorian Finney-Smith is kind of in the same mold, definitely more defense first as opposed to Cam's more offense first. But both those guys are going to be really good. The reason I go with them two first is because Mikal Bridges, I don't see the Nets giving him up in like any trade. They've been really stubborn. They've been really stubborn at not tearing down the whole thing, especially with Bridges. They want to keep him and build around him. Where he's a fantastic player. I'd love to have him on my team, but
he's not the guy you want to build around, in my opinion.
Yeah, no. The Nets, honestly, if I had to, I was in control of the Nets, I'd be tearing the whole thing down, just starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Building around Bridges probably isn't the decision.
No, it should have been built down, or it should have been torn down once your Kevin Durant, Kyrie experiment failed. You're not going to just bounce back from that like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And it's kind of foolish for them to think that they could, and now we're still here. And I get it, GMs and stuff, they don't want to lose their job. But
finishing,
let's say the Nets have a good year and they finish what? The 7 seed?
That's what
really job is that saving?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's worth trying, but they're not gonna. Mikal Bridges' pipe dream is probably not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I like Noah Clowney. Do you know anything about Noah Clowney?
He's one of their centers, right?
He's a young guy. Played a lot in the G League, and he got some time with them at the end of the year. Athletic. I think he could come in and he wouldn't be one of the main pieces of the trade, but kind of guy that you throw in that can maybe develop into something off the bench for us. I like him. I don't know what it would be, but I could, I could see if I was a GM, I would maybe try to pry him away as like a third guy in the deal or something like that. He could be absolutely nothing. I don't really know, but he's enticing to me. Another team that's been linked to Darius is San Antonio Spurs. So obviously, number one trade we got to go off the bat is Victor Wembanyama for Darius Garland. I would definitely take that if I'm the Spurs. Wouldn't you?
Who were we kidding? Not gonna do that.
A man can dream.
Yeah. As far as what's actually on the Spurs that would be good for us, Keldon Johnson's the big one. Spurs have kind of already come out and said that Devin Vassell is going to be untouchable. So it's like, I would love to have him in return for Darius, but it's looking like that's probably not going to happen. So you're looking at guys like Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan fill the power forward spot. And then Trey Jones too would be a good backup point guard to kind of replace him. Because the big thing with the Garland trade, it means it's going to move Donovan to point guard. So in that case, you're going to need a backup point guard to actually, run the offense when Donovan isn't out there. Trey Jones can do that pretty well. So he'll be he'll be a good kind of fit for what we need in a return. And then obviously Keldon's going to be good. Sohan fills a spot too. And then they've got some pretty good picks to trade.
I think there's a good chance you end up getting Zach Collins back in a deal. I don't know if I can't imagine he'd come back with all three of those guys, but in the event that the Spurs don't want to give up that much for Garland, I could see Zach Collins being included in the deal. I'm not a huge Zach Collins guy, but I do think he could be a decent enough big man off your bench, but it doesn't get me excited.
Yeah, if Allen gets traded too, then you are going to need a backup center.
Yeah.
Hopefully Collins can be that guy.
So another one that I was surprised, but we have heard about is Minnesota is interested in Garland. The only thing I would really want from Minnesota would be Naz Reid, Jaden McDaniels. All I don't think those have realistic possibilities of happening because I'm not interested in Kyle Anderson. I'm not interested in Karl Anthony Towns if they don't want to re-sign him on that deal. We already tried the two big man experiment. I'm good on that. I don't want it no more. Then you're looking at Mike Conley. I don't know. Mike Conley and picks doesn't move me enough. I don't know how you feel about that. I love Mike Conley, the player, especially being from Ohio. But I don't really see a path to it working there.
I would say I would kind of go back to the Cat point. The fact that the reason the two bigs didn't work on offense was because neither of them could shoot.
Which I agree with.
So it really cramped the floor. But when you get Cat out there, he can
probably
function
the best big man shooter probably ever.
Yeah. So he does function like a stretch four on offense. A really good one at that. So being in having Mobley be the one that rolls to the basket and then having Cat, pop out. That does work on offense. It's kind of the same thing of what Minnesota was already doing with him and Gobert. It's just now you actually have a center that can do some stuff with Mobley aside from, instead of Gobert, who's just going to catch it and finish it half the time.
I agree. Cat with Mobley would be it's in a different stratosphere of offensive pairings than Allen and Mobley are. I'm not here to argue that. I want more. I think it could work because Mobley is so versatile defending, and he can defend out on the perimeter a little bit. And I think Mobley's a better defender than Gobert. Maybe not rim protector, but I think he's more. I think Gobert's defense got a little bit exposed in playoffs.
I think it was more so team around him, but whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Who would you rather be guarding Steph Curry out on the wing, though? Gobert or Mobley?
That's irrelevant.
Answer the question.
You're losing if either of them are on.
Okay, I agree, but what would you rather have?
Okay, Mobley's a better perimeter defender. Who cares?
There you
go. The other big thing is if you do get Cat back in the Garland trade, it is going to mean for sure that Allen's going to get traded too. So you would have to kind of look at the return on what that ends up being.
Yeah,
we can go into, I guess, kind of next. That'd be Pelicans. They're kind of linked to both Garland and Allen too. So if you do get a guy like Cat back in a Garland trade, then you could look at maybe again Ingram from the Pelicans for Allen. It'd be kind of a perfect selling high and buying low at the same time with Allen for Ingram swap, because Ingram's value is about as low as it's ever going to be, and Allen's value is about as high as it's ever going to be too. So normally you would not be able to do this trade at all, but if there was a time where it's possible, this would probably be it. Plus, Pelicans are definitely going to be in the need and are looking for a center for sure, because they already came out and said that Valanciunas is not coming back. So they're in the
What?
market for a center,
Alan
and they
Chambers
have
is
been linked to.
awesome.
He's good at some stuff.
He's not horrible, but he's not. He wouldn't excite me if I'm the Pelicans either.
Yeah. The Pelicans should be excited to be looking for a new center.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have been linked to Allen for a while now, so I'm sure they're going to be sending out trade offers for him.
Yeah, it's just, do you think I would assume we'd probably need to give some picks for Ingram with Allen. I don't think it'd be a lot. But I would assume there'd be at least a first rounder.
I don't know. It's gonna depend on how low the Pelicans are on Ingram, and I think they are pretty low on him. So
I mean, he had a horrible playoffs.
he did.
Horrible. Yeah, a lot of ways. I mean, they got some very solid pieces that would help a bunch of teams like Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. I know Larry Nance has been linked. Larry Nance obviously spent time in Cleveland, and his dad too. Probably had his best years with us. I'd say. Yeah, he had some solid years when we traded for him from LA. And then Dyson Daniels, I know I've been hearing that name thrown around in trade packages, which, how do you feel about Dyson?
I mean, if you're trading for Dyson to pair him with Isaac Okoro, I think that's horrible.
Yeah.
They're the same player, except Dyson's just even worse on offense. So it's like,
yeah, I don't really.
I'm not that. I don't like that. If you're trading for Dyson, it means Okoro's gone.
Yeah, that's the only way I could see it is Okoro gets offered too much and you don't want to match it, and you say,
or if you do a sign and trade for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of the extent of the Garland stuff. So let's move on to some Jarrett Allen. I think Jarrett Allen would draw more interest from more teams than Garland. I think Garland will probably get a bigger haul. Because I think the NBA is still pretty high on Garland from what I've been hearing. But so Memphis is one of the first teams interested in Jarrett Allen, which I don't completely understand with Jaren Jackson being there, but
well, Jaren's
not their
still.
GM.
I think they still think Jaren's a power forward, which I don't disagree with that. I do think that still having two rim protectors on the floor is normally will translate to a very good defense. They won. They had the best defense in basketball a year or two ago when it was just last year actually, when they were running Jaren at power forward. So getting Allen to pair next to him at center would be pretty amazing. Who did they trade for in the offseason to be their center? Was it?
I know Steven Adams got hurt.
Yeah.
You were right that they traded. I can't remember who. I'm about to look it up right now.
Yeah. Steven Adams, if he was still healthy for him, he would still be pretty good. But obviously he didn't play a game the entire year, so there's not a whole lot there. As far as their trade, what they have to trade, Brandon Clark is kind of the headliner with it, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to see Clark actually on the floor looking good before I'm willing to trade for him. I do know he played the last 6 games of the year, but not nearly enough sample size. I have to really see if he's back for them to, for me to get him in a trade return. Luke Kennard's another guy for them that probably would get put in an Allen trade if it does happen. Obviously Kennard is very good, but it's I don't know. We already have Sam Merrill. It's not like Kennard is that much better than Merrill. If we're trading Allen for something, I want it to be for something that we don't have. I got a really high level wing. Kennard's not that. He's just a shooter and a sliver of defense. That's about it.
I know Luke Kennard's pretty respected in NBA circles, like he's valued, but I don't know. I just don't think it takes. I don't think it brings enough difference to this roster to where we're looking at the team in a different light.
Yeah.
What do you think about I know I've heard Aldama's name thrown around a little bit.
Aldama is definitely good, and I would like to have him on the team. I think he would actually fit really well next to Mobley, but I mean, obviously, there's going to have to be some picks thrown in.
Yeah. Dude, I'm still trying to find this. Who they traded for? I cannot find it anywhere.
I don't even remember if they actually did the trade or not. I'm going to skip to the next one. So the Kings have been.
I'm going to find this.
Yeah. The Kings have been linked to Allen for some reason. I honestly don't get it because it's like they already have Sabonis at center, and you're not going to move Sabonis to power forward. So it's like I don't see why they would be interested in Allen, unless they're going to move Sabonis, but I don't see that happening either. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me. I would like what they have in return, though. Kevin Huerter's really good. Harrison Barnes is decent still. Barnes isn't what he used to be defensively, but on offense, he does still pack a punch. Malik Monk is definitely very interesting. I would love to have him kind of as the sixth man, maybe even as a starting shooting guard if Darius gets traded too and you move Donovan to point guard. But I don't know. It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the Kings to be able to trading for Allen. So I don't know. I just really don't see anything happening there.
Would it have been KJ Martin?
I think he got traded, but I don't.
Yeah, you're right. They did trade.
Something involving a center for them, but I don't.
Dude, I can't find anything. I kind of feel like that never happened.
It might have never happened. I'm just going crazy.
Maybe we're just thinking about Xavier Tillman because they traded him.
That was mid-season though. He's in Boston.
He don't play for them.
Played against us.
I know, but not really. They played
like a little bit
over him.
Yeah,
That's
they
wild.
didn't play him much.
That's wild.
Yeah. Next is the Thunder. It's kind of I don't know.
If Josh Giddey is a name that comes back, I don't want a single part to do with it.
Yeah, no, I'm good on that too. I think it is going to be more picks oriented if that does end up happening. Picks and probably some wings. I feel like it depends on what they think of like their scheme with Holmgren at the 5. Obviously, it worked very well this year in the regular season, but if they don't trust it in the playoffs, then I could definitely see them going for a guy like Allen, where they move Holmgren to the 4. That way, they have a little bit more size, can kind of bring him over on the weak side to protect the rim.
It'd be a nasty defense.
Yeah, and then they actually would be able to rebound the basketball, which wasn't really the case in the postseason. Yeah, so that was. I feel like I could definitely see it working for them. I can also definitely see them like sticking with what they already got, which,
it's not the worst.
That worked really well for them in the regular season too.
Yeah. Next team. I don't see any way this happens. But Golden State, they got young guys.
Yeah, they do have some young guys. Wiggins is obviously the biggest name that would be coming back to us in an Allen trade. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really trust Wiggins that much. He has typically been pretty good for Golden State, but then this past year it was just he fell off a cliff. Now I know there's a lot of personal stuff going on in his life, so it's like I maybe maybe I'm wrong for not trusting it, but I don't know.
I
It
don't
always
think you are.
felt a
I'm in
little
the
bit
same
shaky.
boat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It's I feel like if I got to trade back for Wiggins, it would be like in a situation where my hands are tied because my guy just requested a trade, and I gotta get something at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't really love what Golden State has to offer. They got some young guys. I'm not super high on. I know that like the general consensus on like Jonathan Kuminga and Moody is really high. They're okay. I mean,
I think Kaminga is really
Kuminga
good.
will be fun to watch on your team,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
As far as like overall kind of what I'm looking um, for this offseason, I do want to see an Allen trade more than anything else. I think it's time to move Mobley to the 5. I think it needs to happen. And this offseason is definitely kind of better than ever to do it because Allen is going to be, again, the highest value that he's ever going to have.
Mm-hmm.
This was probably his best year, even better than the All-Star year.
Agreed.
And he still does have a few years left on his contract. So
And it's a pretty
this is
good
the most,
contract for the
this
type
is
of
the
player
most
he
you're going
is.
to get. Yeah, this is the most you're going to get in a trade for him. Plus, there are contending teams or at least playoff teams that are really looking for centers between the Pelicans and the Grizzlies as well. Obviously, Golden State too. They're looking for a center as well. So there's a lot of teams that there's a lot of suitors for Allen, and they're all pretty good. So they could definitely get into a little bit of a bidding war for him. If that happens, just more
That'd
for
be
us
awesome.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
A lot of ways it could go.
So the timing on it is really perfect for an Allen trade. I am still kind of hoping we keep Garland.
Boo.
All right, well, but there are definitely some kind of interesting packages as far as like a return for him.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs is a little bit more interesting because they do actually have a good backup point guard that would be able to fill Garland's role. And then plus they've got Kelvin Johnson, some other stuff. They got some picks too. That would definitely be interesting. The Minnesota one with Cat, I would be extremely intrigued if we did get Cat back for Garland, but I don't exactly see it happening. I feel like it's a lot of talk. Like the Cat trade rumors, I feel like it's more talk than anything. I don't really see it actually happening. But it would be very intriguing if that did end up happening. And then the Pelicans, getting Ingram back for one of the two, whether it's Allen or Garland.
That one's scary, but so like I want to see it happen because I'm just interested to see what would go down.
Yeah, it might be the most intriguing one because it's like that is your shot creating wing, your playmaking wing that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you'd fit super well in this team and bring everything we need. At the same point, it's like,
it's Brandon Ingram.
Is he actually going to be good for us? I really don't know.
Like how many mid post fades can one person watch a game? Like,
yeah. And also, how easily is he going to move off his spot? It's
enticing, but I think my heart says yes, my brain says no.
Yeah, it's something for sure.
I think when you look at what the Cavs have this offseason, I think the only wrong decision that they can make is to sit and think that their core four is good enough to win it all.
I'm going to say, yeah.
And if you think that the coach is going to change that, it's not. Like, your team is not constructed well enough at this point. And Kobe Altman, he needs to realize it because I'm not a huge Kobe guy after the past couple years, and he's done some good things, but like also like Donovan Mitchell smacks you in the face. I hope any GM would have made that deal, especially coming off the year we had. It made sense.
Yeah,
I'm not going to
I
give him
do
his
still
flowers
think
for that though.
I do still think highly of Kobe overall.
I mean, let me make this 100% clear. He has found like guys that aren't highly talented, and they have been able to produce. Dean Wade, CPJ had some uh, promising signs this year. Sam Merrill, like, these guys have looked like they've been playing the best basketball under this Cavs team. So it's not all bad, but like you have to at some point be able to make the moves too. Like you can't go out and make. We signed George Niang, guys. Look at us. We signed Damon Jones. Like,
I do think he's a very good general manager. It's just a matter of if he can push the right buttons to get us over the hump. And we'll see. Obviously, the season hasn't even ended yet, so it's not like, hey, why hasn't he already made this
yeah,
move? We'll see what happens.
nothing's gonna happen till the finals ends.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have I have a lot of praise for Kobe, and then I also have my gripes with Kobe. I don't like how he stood pat at the deadline 2 years in a row. Look at the Mavericks. That's all I'll say. Look at the Mavericks. What are they're still playing basketball right now, and they made two good moves. You can't sit you know you can't sit still at the deadline when you can look at your team, and they're like, oh, it's a 20-game win streak by the deadline. Like, we're not going to mess with anything. But I'm like, you can't look at the regular season. You got to look at your playoff team. And anybody with eyes could have told you that, win streak or not, the team had flaws that needed to be fixed to compete in the playoffs. And we're sitting on a podcast right now talking about Dallas versus Boston.
Exactly.
But he does do a lot of good things. I just think he needs to tighten some things up to really get us where we need to go.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at. But we're gonna be talking about a lot of Cavs in the coming months. This should be interesting.
Yes.
So we're gonna go into our segment where it's a little more fun. Let's breaking things down and getting a lot of serious thoughts. So what we're gonna do is blind rank, whatever we want to choose. So you don't know who's next, but you go down a list of 5 guys. The guy ranking them doesn't know, and he has to blind rank them. So, do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
You can start.
All right. So my category is the best teams that have lost in the finals.
Okay.
So, the first team, you have the 2021 Phoenix Suns.
We're doing this with 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to put them at 4.
4. All right. Next team, we got the 2017 Cavaliers.
We'll do 1.
I personally think that's one of the greatest NBA teams ever.
To not win.
It just is unfortunate the team they had to go against. Number 3, the 2020 Heat.
5.
Agreed.
Yeah.
At 4, we got the 2022 Celtics.
I'm going to put them at 3.
And number 5, we have the 2013 Oklahoma City Thunder.
They were 2012. 13 was the Spurs.
You sure?
Oh, no, you're saying, did they have to be in the finals, or just a team that didn't win the finals?
It might have been 2012. I might have clicked the wrong key on my thing.
It was 2012. Obviously, it puts them at 2nd, and that's probably where I would have put them anyhow. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you got it right. I think that's what I would have done too.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is teams with the best future.
Oh man, this is a good one.
Yeah. Let me get this pulled up for you. All right. First one, Utah.
Mm. I'm gonna go 4. I like Larry Markkinen, obviously, but they don't really have a young piece that is like big time building block.
Yeah. Indy.
I'm gonna go 2.
Okay. Third is Memphis.
See, this comes down to if I like John Morant more, or if I like Tyrese Halliburton more. I'm gonna go 3. I think Ja's better, but I think Ja comes with some stuff that Tyrese Halliburton doesn't come with. And I like some of the young pieces and just the team around the Pacers a little bit better than what the Grizzlies have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next, we're going to go Milwaukee Bucks.
Did I put the Pacers at 4 or 5? I mean, not the Pacers, my bad. The Jazz.
Utah was at 4.
All right, then I'm going 5 for the Bucks.
And then the fifth one is Sacramento.
And they get 1. I think I got my 4 and 5 team kind of close, but
yeah,
I probably would have rearranged. I probably would have put the Kings at 3. And I think all the Kings, Grizzlies, and Pacers are kind of interchangeable, though. I think I like Halliburton and Morant better than what the Kings have.
I do like Halliburton too. Yeah, the Bucks one is definitely the most interesting one, because it's like it really feels like they're at the end of their title window. We'll really have to see what Dame and Chris look like next year, because they've both been really dealing with some health stuff the past few years, and they do just look old, honestly, at this point. So we'll see what they look like next year. And then obviously, I feel like the supporting cast has just been dwindling and dwindling for them.
Yeah, I agree.
At this point, it's like Bobby Portis is good. Obviously, Brooks good too. Brooke Lopez. And then after
Beasley
that,
has moments, but
yeah, Beasley is fantastic for them on offense, and then just can't do anything on defense.
Yeah,
the fact that it's Beasley and Lillard as their backcourt it's so bad defensively.
It's not great. No, it's not great. I think if we're talking like near future, I'd put the Bucks 1 because they still have Giannis, still have Dame. But if we're talking about just future, I don't see how like those two guys who are getting up there can.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are going to start dealing with kind of the LeBron issue where he always seems to outlast his supporting cast. So you have to keep getting him new ones every few years because he keeps again outlasting them.
Yeah,
I can definitely see that happening with Giannis, where his window is just a lot bigger than everyone else's window.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like they're Milwaukee. It's I guess what they really thought they were going to be able to do this year was they were just going to have enough rim protection between Giannis and Brook to be able to have these weak perimeter defenders and get away with it, and that just was not the case this year. Our defense really was slipping a lot, and I definitely don't trust Doc Rivers to fix it. That's for sure.
No, that was like you literally texted me when they went and hired Doc Rivers, and you're like, well, like, there goes their chance of winning the finals.
Yeah,
I didn't like that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they move forward, but we're gonna go ahead and do a draft between me and BY here. But it's only between the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics, the two current rosters in the finals. BY, I'll give you the rights to the first pick, and then I will pick, and I'll pick again, like a snake draft.
All right, going Luka first, no question.
Knew that was going to come. I'm going to go Jason Tatum. I don't think that I can make a case against that. Second pick, though, is kind of tough. I don't know who I want to go. For the sake of changing things up a little bit, in personal bias, I'm taking Kyrie.
All right.
Reuniting.
Yeah. It does leave me with Brown then, so I'm going to go Brown. And then I feel like I'd have to go Porzingis after that. We're gonna pair him back up with Luka. It is also again going to provide a lot of spacing, so Luka is going to be able to get to the rim kind of with ease, or at least not have any problems when he does get to the rim. So obviously it's going to help Brown too with the spacing. So far I've got Luka, Brown, and Porzingis.
I have Tatum, Kyrie. Should have just taken Jaylen Brown and been boring. I'm gonna go with third or fourth. And this is 4 and 5 for me, ain't it?
Yeah.
No, 3 and 4. I'm stupid. Yeah, 3 and 4. I'm gonna go Derek White. I love Derek White. He's the only Celtics player I like, actually. 4. I'm gonna have to take PJ Washington. I need a wing to pair with Tatum. I don't want to pair Drew, Derek, and Kyrie together.
That's good, honestly. I'm still gonna go with Drew as my next pick. Or wait, who'd you say is White and
White? Yeah.
And then what was your other one?
PJ.
Oh yeah, PJ. That's right. Yeah, I'm gonna go Drew. Gives me point guard, plays a lot of defense. And then where am I going next? I feel like we've got all the really good players out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. What else we got here? Do I go Horford and go with them on the bench, or should I go with like Lively or something?
You're gonna pair Kristaps with Lively.
I think Lively might be coming off the bench in this.
No. You only get your first 5.
Oh, I only get the first 5. Oh.
You got 4 right now.
Right. Could go Derek Jones, or do I want to go with more of a offensive? So right now the two names I'm at are Derek Jones and then Sam Hauser. Between Drew and then Porzingis and Brown, maybe that might be enough defense where I can squeeze in a Hauser. Yeah, I'm gonna go Hauser. That way, like it's only him and Luka as my kind of not great defenders. So I'll go with I'm going Sam Hauser.
My 5th pick between Horford and Lively. I need a big. And I'm gonna go with athleticism over shooting. I'm gonna take Lively. So, let us know in the comments who you think won. I have a feeling that I know what the answer is gonna be. But yeah. Let us know who won that one. So, there's this photo on NBA Twitter, and it's basically like your all NBA first, second, third teams, but it's just all decade. And so you have your all decade first team, your all decade second team, your all decade third team. So your all decade third team is LaMarcus Aldridge, Dwayne Wade, Kobe, Giannis, Paul George. Your all decade second team is Chris Paul, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and Blake Griffin. Your all-decade first team is Curry, Durant, LeBron, Harden, and Kawhi. Reactions to that? I got some things I don't like about it.
Feels like the bigs on the third team is really weak, and also honestly the guards too. On the third team, the only good player on this is not only good player, but Wade and Kobe were only good up until about like 2013, and then after that, it's just like Aldridge was good, but he wasn't like that good. Hibbert had a really short, run as well.
Who?
Um,
Who you say?
Why did I think that was Roy Hibbert? That's Paul George, right?
I
wasn't paying attention when you were reading.
Yeah, that's Paul George. There's no positions. It's like
it does look
teams.
like Hibbert in this picture. But look, I know. All right. I'm not entirely sure where I would go to replace those guys, though. Could you go with like a Lillard over one of the guards? Does he have enough longevity?
I think I would go. I would drop LaMarcus.
Yeah, Aldridge is the first one to go.
I'd probably drop LaMarcus Aldridge, drop Kobe, drop Wade.
I'm seeing about that too. Yeah, I think I would go with those. As far as replacements, Lillard is going to be my first pick to replace those.
My first pick would be Kyrie. Most iconic shot of the decade. Was a part of a finals team. Been a part of multiple winning teams.
Yeah, you can go with that.
After his Cleveland era kind of, hurt his stock a little bit. He's back up now, though. He's back up. But yeah. I think Kyrie belongs in there somewhere.
Yeah, so we'll go Kyrie and then Lillard too. At this point, we're really just looking at one other guy to fill the spot here. Mm-hmm. Let's see. What do we want to go with?
There just wasn't a whole lot of good big men.
About like Marc Gasol. Was he still good? Is there enough?
He was good. He was good. Definitely.
Obviously he was good, but is there enough to like really go with it?
DeMarcus Cousins had some dominant years in the 2010s.
Definitely thinking of him too.
But
I think I would put Cousins over Aldridge.
Yeah, I think I could. I'd move Blake Griffin down, and I'd put Kyrie in the second team as well.
All right.
But I think the first and second teams are really good, honestly.
Yeah.
First team, I don't see anything wrong with it at all.
Yeah. Second team, maybe I'd look at moving Giannis into the second team, but
he isn't. I mean, he was really dominant in the end, but like that was even post Cavs, post LeBron Cavs, where he really turned it on. You're looking at like 1-2 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, they were great years. I don't think you can move him up. I don't like Blake Griffin in the second team. He belongs on the list. I don't think he belongs on the second team. Man, I think you can make a case for Clay too.
Clay could definitely be an addition on here. Just depends on if you think the upside is actually that high to be able to be on here.
You can make a case for Draymond too. You can make a case for all four of those guys from the Warriors. Can. I think I'd almost knock Blake Griffin up for Draymond, actually.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I'm not a Blake Griffin guy.
It's definitely an interesting thing with him. I don't entirely know where to peg him. Where to put him on this. Hold on. Okay, I don't know where to put him.
Pause.
Goodness.
I'm sorry, that's too fun. All right, what are we finalizing then? Going Curry, Cade, Braun, Harden, Kawhi, first team.
Yeah.
Second team, CP3, AD, Russ, Melo, Kyrie, or Lillard.
Kyrie, just because he got a ring.
All right, then the third team, we got Lillard, PG, Giannis. You got the final two here. Draymond.
Do we want to give Griffin the last spot? I'm going to give it to him. We'll give Griffin the last spot.
All right, that's fair. I like it. I think it's a little better. I think the third team was sloppy.
Yeah.
Clean it up a little bit. Let us know what you guys think about our all-decade teams and argue with us in the comments below. So now we're going to move into a little debate segment where we are ranking these players. So
Debate's an hour and a half into the podcast. Goodness.
now, listen, we're an hour and 5 minutes into the podcast. Okay?
Same thing.
I get what you're saying. So rank Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Honestly, I might be going like in that order. SGA, honestly, it's a lot of foul baiting. It's a lot of, I don't know. I think I'd still put Curry over him. And I think Luka's the best out of the three of them. So I'm going to go in that order. Luka, Curry, SGA.
Yeah, I think I'd go Luka, Curry, and Shai. I think Curry's closer to Luka than Shai is to Curry. I love SGA, but yeah, I don't think he's quite there with Luka and Curry. I think Luka and Curry is pick which one, and I say okay. But SGA, he's not quite there. Awesome player, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I'd rank him too. I'm gonna have to agree with you there. So no debates from me. The next three guys is a little different of one. Jarrett Allen, Jaren Jackson Jr., and dude, I do not know how to pronounce
Alperen Şengün.
Alperen Şengün. I knew Şengün. Yeah. Where you going there?
Şengün's definitely the most interesting because I think Allen and Jaren Jackson are more of like the, like they kind of plug and play better with, any different lineup. They fit in a lot easier.
Mhm.
Şengün, though, it's you kind of have to build around him. I do think out of the three, he is pretty easily the best offensive player. But the defense is like, it's not the greatest. And it isn't as seamless as a fit with other guys.
Yeah.
You are going to have to do a lot to kind of cover his weaknesses. But the offensive upside is obviously very high. I think I am still going to put him third, though. I'm still going to go Şengün third. And then next it's between Allen and Jaren Jackson, which I think is better. I think I am going to go Jaren as the first one on here. It's the combination of rim protection and 3-point shooting.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you really hardly get nowadays. So you can get both the benefits of having two rim protectors on the floor while not sacrificing your spacing on the offensive end. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Jaren as the first one. And then Allen, as fantastic as he is, I'm just going to go second. So I'm going to go Jaren first, Allen second, and then Şengün third.
Jaren really might be the most underrated player in the league. He's crazy. He's awesome. If I'm ranking these guys, I'm going to go Şengün 1. He's young. He can do a lot. I think everything he can do makes up for a little bit of the defensive, or the lack of defense compared to Jarrett Allen and Jaren Jackson Jr. But I'm going to go with Şengün. I just think he keeps getting better and keeps getting better. I think the Rockets got a special in there. So I'm going to go with Şengün 1. I'm going to go Jaren Jackson Jr. second and Jarrett Allen third. I think what like you said, what separates Jaren Jackson Jr. from Allen is the ability to hit shots. He brings in a little bit more on the offensive side. And for me, that gives him the edge over Jarrett Allen. All three pretty close, though. So for the final three, we got from the Evan Mobley draft. Rank Cade Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, and Jalen Green.
I think I have to go Cade first. he, especially like in the last 10 games before he got injured, was just looking outstanding. Um, was dragging the Pistons. Like, I swear, if obviously they didn't win like any games over that stretch, but
Well, really the whole season.
yeah, but it felt like they like over that stretch. It really felt like they were not going to score a single point if it wasn't created by Cade Cunningham. So for that, I am going to have to put him first.
Yeah.
Plus, I just think he is really good.
Got a great name too.
Cool. Next we have Suggs and Jalen Green. It's interesting because I think Suggs is better right now. Then again, Green did have a good close to the year too. So if the end of the year for Green is legit, then I am going to go Green second. But if it's not, and you're still looking at that just kind of shot chucker, then I am going to go Suggs. So I don't know. I'm inclined to believe that it's less real from Green because of we've seen a lot more of him being bad than we have of him being good.
Definitely.
So I honestly think I'm going to go Green third and Suggs second. Did Suggs make the all defensive team?
I would assume he did. I think he did. I'm pretty positive he did.
Yeah. Suggs really had a fantastic year.
Second team.
Yeah, so he did make it. Yeah, I'm going to put Suggs second and Green third.
I would go, I think one's obviously Cade. Like I said, bonus points for the name. It's great. Get him out of Detroit, please, because I have no faith that they will build anything around him. Cade, if you're listening to this podcast, don't accept the contract extension. I don't care how much money it is. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Number two, I'm going to go. This one really is hard because Jalen Green brings something that is so valuable in shot creation. It's just a matter of if he can
be good at it.
Yeah, if he can turn into a more efficient player.
Yeah. So if he can bring literally anything else to the table besides it.
Yeah, and Jalen Suggs' defense is it's
pretty elite.
He's phenomenal. And he's offensively he's gotten better since he came into the league. Jalen Green's potential I think is a lot higher than Suggs. I just don't know if I trust it or believe in it. And for that reason, I'm going to go Suggs 2, Jalen Green 3. But I think that'll be an interesting comparison of two players as their careers keep going on and they keep growing as players, because I think it could really go either way. And they're polar opposites, so it's I like it. It's fun. So next segment we got here is so I put it in ChatGPT to give us the best NBA roster all time with your 5 starters and then 5 bench players. But the key to the bench players was these players that are put on the bench have to be known for being predominantly bench players throughout their career. So ChatGPT said at point guard they'd have Magic Johnson, shooting guard Michael Jordan, small forward LeBron James, power forward Tim Duncan, center Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Off the bench they would have Manu Ginobili, Andre Iguodala, Jason Terry, Jamal Crawford, and Kevin McHale. What do you think about that team? Because I don't agree with either their starters or their bench.
As far as if you're going to go with the 5 best players on the floor, then I think that would be the starters. But
it'd be close.
The fit between them is just not that great.
In modern NBA, I just don't see how that would be. They'd still probably be the best team to ever play because of the pure amount of talent. But if you are picking from the entire pool of players across NBA history, I think you could come up with a better fit. and a better team for modern basketball.
I'm thinking that too.
So what would you change?
I think you gotta. I think I might go Durant over Duncan in particular.
Mm-hmm.
That does give you, the shooting that you are looking for in that starting five, while also trying to get, while still getting, some athleticism, some, length too on defense. And then I probably gonna go Curry over Magic too. That does create a little bit of a hole on defense, so it does have
Yeah, but you
something
have
for you to
Jordan and
pick on.
LeBron.
Yeah, we got Jordan and LeBron, and then obviously it does create, you get shooting, which is the biggest thing this lineup was lacking. So I changed the starters to Curry, Jordan, Bron, Cade, and then Kareem at center. And then as far as the bench goes,
well, we'll stick with starters.
You're gonna go with starters.
Yeah, I think my starting five. So it was between exactly what you said, or also changing it up completely and going at my point guard. I'm going LeBron because he can do it. Straight up, he can do it. Shooting guard, MJ. Stick with it. Small forward, I'd go Kevin Durant. Power forward, Larry Bird, and then at center, Kareem. I think that's what I'm going to go with because I think it's so interesting. You have the height, every single position. MJ is your smallest guy there, and you got shooting. I think it brings a lot of the same stuff that your lineup brought, except your point guard 6'9".
Yeah,
and not a defensive liability. And so I think that's where I would go. But definitely the lineup you said was my second choice. So now the bench is a little bit interesting. So like I said earlier, we got Manu, Iggy, Jason Terry, Jamal Crawford, and Kevin McHale. So first off, I think that the three guys you're definitely keeping is Manu, Iguodala, and Kevin McHale.
I'm gonna say yeah.
And then I think those three definitely belong. I don't think Jason Terry belongs. I think there's a really, really good argument for Jamal Crawford. I don't think Jason Terry belongs there, though.
Yeah, let's say no on Terry. Probably gonna go no on Crawford too. There's so much offense already with the starters that you don't need Crawford off the bench. I think I'd rather have someone that is going to play a good bit of defense.
So what you're saying is Tony Allen?
No, I want at least something on offense. I don't exactly know who would be kind of the perfect fit for this. I know kind of like what I want, but I don't know who is going to bring it, essentially. As well as, like, you also got to find a guy that has been primarily a bench player for their whole career. So that's kind of the biggest portion. So I don't remember fully of like who's been on, benches throughout the year.
Well,
because right now,
Detlef Schrempf's a good one.
Yeah.
Tony Kukoc.
Kukoc is good for sure.
I think I'd replace Terry with Kukoc.
Honestly, I might go with like a more modern guy. Get Bobby Portis in there at, like backup power forward.
I can see that. I don't know if I agree with it, but I can see
it. 30 yet, Naz Reid.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would place Terry with Kukoc, and because of what Jamal Crawford's accolades and everything, like when I think of a bench player, especially with growing up, I kind of think of Jamal Crawford. So for that reason, I'm keeping Jamal Crawford. Even though I know there probably is some better fits, but the team would be dominant regardless. Yeah. I wouldn't even want to use the bench. So, next topic here. For the best point guard ever. So essentially what we did is we asked ChatGPT, build the best point guard ever in using individual players in categories. So the categories are IQ, shooting, passing, dribbling, defending, athleticism, clutchness, and creativity. And so these are the answers it gave us. The IQ of Chris Paul, shooting of Stephen Curry, passing of Luka Doncic, the dribbling of Kyrie Irving, defending of Drew Holiday, athleticism of Ja Morant, clutchness of Damian Lillard, and the creativity of LaMelo Ball. Would you change anything about that? Because me personally, I honestly think ChatGPT did a crazy good job.
It did a very good job. Probably going to go Gary Payton, though, instead of Drew defense.
Which Gary Payton?
I think we can go Russ instead of Morant, too, for the athleticism.
I did put in, let me make something clear, sorry. I put in current players only in their current state.
Oh, okay. So
that's why it's not Russ.
Right now. Okay, that's fair. I do like that. Creativity, though, the two other guys I'm really thinking about this are Brunson and then also Luka. The creativity, though, on the passing angles, Luka does just do some wild stuff with the ball in terms of like manipulation and things like that. So I could see that kind of going towards creativity. Plus, I mean, you'd have to be creative if you're going to be able to create shots while not being very athletic at all. Second goes to both Brunson and Luka. So I'm kind of between those two for the creativity aspect.
I'd say go with Brunson because Luka has passing and he's a great passer.
Yeah, because Luka's already on there, so we'll go Brunson for creativity.
Yeah, if Ricky Rubio still played, I could see Ricky Rubio getting the passing, and you can move Luka to creativity, but unfortunately,
who else is creative enough to just fall over anytime you get screened?
Here's the Jalen Brunson hate. No, Jalen Brunson, what he's able to do at his size, and he's honestly not the most athletic guy either. Like, really impressive. I think I'd probably put Brunson there, but honestly, ChatGPT
did a pretty good job.
Good job. I'm impressed. So, for the last segment of today's episode, we got who is the most influential players and basically rank them on their influence between MJ, Steph Curry, and Allen Iverson. I'll start this one, I think. MJ is the most influential player of all time. He blew the league up. He changed the way people view the NBA. He, Jordan's the shoe. I mean, completely, created a whole culture there. It's MJ and it's not close. It's not close. LeBron's still the GOAT, though. Don't get it twisted. For the second most influential player, I got Steph Curry. I'm telling you, as a kid that grew up in the pre-Steph Curry era, when I went to gyms, kids were shooting just normal threes and just chucking them up. And if they made them, they'd go crazy. I walk into the gym now, and, third graders are shooting, fairly normal form from the three-point line and making them and chucking up deep ones like we were chucking up just a normal three. That's Steph Curry. Whether it's a good influence or a bad influence on our youth, it's a big influence. And then thirdly, Allen Iverson. I don't want to downplay AI's influence because, he made a lot of things cool that were kind of looked down upon until AI came and did it. But AI is a little tainted in my opinion because of how the culture views him. He kind of, his actual play gets inflated a lot. And I just don't really like it because he's not a top 20 player of all time. And yet he gets talked about like he's borderline top 10. It's just kind of leaves a bad feeling in mind. But influence, crazy, but I'm going to put him at 3.
Yeah. Allen Iverson's influence all came from the culture aspect of it. Just kind of amplified because he was a star. As far as the actual basketball aspect of it, Curry has a lot more influence than Iverson ever did. As far as like what you're seeing on the court and stuff like that. it really did help pioneer kind of this whole change of the NBA within the last decade, basically. Go back a decade, it's a wildly different game than what it is now, and a lot of that did have to do with Curry, and then still Jordan number one. So I'm gonna go in that same order: Jordan, Curry, and then Iverson third.
We gotta find some topics that we don't agree upon because this is getting crazy.
Yeah.
We're too similar. Well, that's it. Anyone that listened or watched, we appreciate it. Podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and the video version is on YouTube. It's the Friendly Banter Podcast. Check us out on TikTok, Twitter. Make sure you follow and like our stuff and share it. Sharing it is, we appreciate that. New episodes will be dropping every Wednesday and every Saturday. And if we start getting some more traction where you can take it a little more seriously, we'd like to start maybe throwing in like a Monday episode as well. But check us out, like it up. We appreciate anyone that watches. Tune in Wednesday. Thank you to everyone.